So whenever you're putting some sort of element in front of your lens, say for example a filter, you kind of want to make sure it's high quality, right? Because otherwise, like using a couple $1,000 lens and then just smudging Vaseline over top of it doesn't really make sense. And that's kind of the reason why these big name companies, specifically the one that starts with the letter T, can charge such ridiculous prices for these filters. I mean, I get it, yes, it does cost a lot of money to put good glass in front of your lens, but they also kind of know, I feel like, that, well, most people probably trust their brand name, and also they kind of know that people don't want to, risk putting some cheapo filter in front of their lens and risk impacting their image quality. I remember back in the days, the only other alternatives that you can find are like these really super dirt cheap options out there that you can get on eBay and Amazon, and they're like $20, probably made in China, and they are just horrible. There's like color shifts left, right, and center. But I feel like in the last 5 to 10 years, there's actually been a lot of good alternatives out there for filters, from either companies that are trying to get into this market, or maybe startup companies, and their foot in the door product are usually filters because maybe it's just easier to get into. But they provide products like ND filters, variable ND filters, diffusion filters, for example, and they are not dirt cheap. They're still a little bit costly, but I feel like they're more affordable, and definitely the quality of it is phenomenal. For a number of years, I've been using filters from a company called Urth. Actually, before they used to be called Gobe when I first purchased their filters back in the days, but I've noticed that over the years since my last purchase compared to my most recent purchase, this company overall, the product line, their product build quality, the product quality itself, the packaging, all in all, everything seems to have improved and evolved over the years. So today I want to take a look at two filters. One from a number of years back when I first purchased their filters when the company was still called Gobe, versus one from my recent purchase after they've changed their name to Urth, and see what the differences are. Okay, so here is the old one and here is the new one. So you can see that the packaging looks quite different. The old one says Gobe, the new one says nothing, but there is a little logo here that you can kind of see. I believe that is their Urth logo, but they do also have their logo on the back, and also a little sticker here that tells you what this filter is. So this one is an ND filter, variable ND filter, ND 2 to 400 for 82mm filter threads, and this one is an old filter that I used to use, 46mm, also a variable ND. Okay, let's first start off by mentioning the packaging, since I did mention that there are improvements. First of all, they're both using this sort of tin can material, but the old one, you can see that it uses a top that kind of just pops right off. So it uses these ridges to lock it in place. Once I open up, you can also see that the inside of this is also very homemade like. You can see that the padding, the styrofoam padding, is kind of just glued onto the to the case, and the filter is just kind of just dropped in here like so, and it basically just kind of rattles around inside. The newer ones, they have made improvements. You can see that the case is a lot more premium looking, and also this top is actually a screw on, so you screw it off and it comes off. So it's not hard to get on and off, but it is definitely a lot more secure. Inside, you can also see that sort of like this velvety material on the inside. There's no padding on the lid, but there is sufficient padding on the inside of here, and it does have a cutout for the specific size of your filter, so it's not going to just rattle around and it's not going to get damaged inside the case. Now, if you care about the planet, which you should, this next part might be pretty important to you, and that is Urth actually says that they'll plant trees whenever you buy their products. I believe it's 5 trees per filter, and basically what happens is whenever you get their products, there's a code inside. You can take that code, enter it into the website, and they will plant the trees on your behalf. Now, I don't know if that is actually true or not. I hope it's not just some sort of gimmick. I hope they actually do plant these trees. I really love that, the fact that a lot of newer companies like these are doing things like this, right? If you support them, if you support buying their products, they'll actually give back to the environment. And I think if this is something that's important to you, this may sway your decision if you're looking to compare between two different products. Okay, when we look at the product, you can see that the old one and the new one is actually a little bit different. Well, first of all, they're different filter sizes, but that's okay. When we look at the old one here, this design is very common back when this generation of variable ND filters came up. The front element of the filter kind of just infinitely spins, and you as the user will have to keep track of whether or not this arrow is within the minimum and the maximum spectrum of the NDs, essentially, for a lack of a better word. So you can go past it, and once you go past it, then you're gonna start getting all these weird X patterns and all that. This does not give you that tactile feedback, so it's actually a little bit inconvenient. There is resistance, it does feel good, but it does turn pretty easily. You can also see that on the old one, there's threads on the inside, but there's no threads on the outside, so you can't stack filters on this. What I've also noticed is that the threads on the front is actually larger than the threads on the back here. This is a 46mm filter size, but on the front is actually larger. So if you put the lens cap on here, it's just gonna fall off, which means that you can't actually leave the ND on your lens and then store it away if you want to use your lens cap. When we look at the new one, you can see that there is quite a sufficient difference here and sufficient improvement, first of all. So fit and finish, build quality feels a lot better. And you can see that there are actually stops on the minimum and maximum point of this ND filter. Resistance on this is much tighter though, and it's actually a little bit difficult to turn. Some of you guys might like that. It might be good because you can just leave it in one place. You won't accidentally knock it out of place, which is actually a good thing, but it's a little inconsistent, especially once you get to the maximum point. It's very stiff right here. And then once you get back down to the minimum point, it's a little bit smoother back here. And speaking of inconsistency, I do have another one of these filters that I bought at the exact same time for this little pancake lens here. And this one is a 52mm filter thread. So same one as the new one. I bought this at the same time. This one spins very loosely, right? So this one feels almost like the old one where it just kind of spins. I mean, I would even say that this is even looser. There is a little bit of resistance there, but it is a lot smoother to turn compared to the 82mm size here. It's a lot smoother to turn. And this one, I have turned it by accident when I'm shooting with it. So all in all I'm trying to say is that there is inconsistencies in terms of how much resistance and how smoothly the ring can turn, even amongst the new set of filters that they have. Depending on the size, depending on, I guess, the batch that you get, you may have a different experience. Moving on, you can see that this one has an inner thread for your lens, but you can see that there's also an outer thread here, so you can stack these filters. And I do notice that you can put the lens cap back on here, so you can technically keep this on your lens and you can still put your lens cap on here. It works just fine. All in all I'm trying to say is that if you did get the old version in the past and you weren't too happy with it, the new line has been substantially improved. Looking at their website, they even have a new set of filters that are magnetic. You know, magnets are all the rave nowadays, so it's great to see that Urth also has a line of magnetic filters. For these sample footages here, I just wanted to see how well the ND filter behaves. Essentially, I'm just going through each of the dots shown on the variable ND filters. I'm assuming each of these dots represents a stop, and I'm compensating the image by riding the ISO up. I'm shooting the sky here just to see if there's any color shifts or any sort of X pattern shown on the image. Feel free to pause the video if you want to examine a little bit closer yourself. And that's my opinion on Urth or Gobe, depending on when you purchase their product. If you agree with me, perfect, give me a like, subscribe. If you disagree with me, that's okay, it's a free country. But give me a like anyways. Alright, see ya.